Next on the news, he may be retired, but that doesn't mean he's stopped serving. Meet the priest dedicating his time to help those a world away.
All these boxes are filled with gifts Father Perry collected to help those affected by war in Ukraine. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
Thanksgiving might be harder for more families this year as Americans continue to feel the aftermath of the government shutdown and rising food costs. Plus, Hollywood hits the Holy See. We take a look at the star's visit to the Vatican and Pope Leo's favorite movies. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. He may be officially retired from the priesthood, but Father Michael Perry says his work as a man of God is never done. The pastor emeritus of Our Lady of Refuge Church in Flatbush is on a mission to help those thousands of miles away from his Brooklyn parish. Currents News' Katie Vasquez tells us more from his residence in Douglaston, Queens.
This box is ready to head overseas.
All right, so over here I got like 4 or 5 boxes.
One of many that Father Michael Perry has prepared to ship to Ukraine, which was invaded by Russia in 2021.
They have nothing. Nothing. Everything is destroyed. Everything. Everything.
So far, the former Brooklyn pastor has sent activities for children, tents, blankets, a wood-burning stove, toiletries, and other items to help those torn apart by the war.
I've been sending packages and packages of wool and, knitting stuff, which is really good because a lot of the older people, especially the older ladies, they can't go through the rubble, but they can knit.
It's personal for Father Perry, as all of his grandparents immigrated from Ukraine, which is why he decided to wear the blue and yellow colors of the country's flag until the war ends.
I'm 100% Ukrainian. I'm also 100% American. I love this country more than I love Ukraine. But the people in Ukraine are my people, and they're suffering terribly.
This effort doesn't come cheap, and the retired priest has dipped into his own fixed income to fund all the items. How much did you spend?
I don't want to know. I just took out another month of my retirement to pay for this shipment. Okay, box, you're ready to go to Ukraine. Bring good things and happiness to the people there, and maybe peace will have happened the day before you get there.
And he hopes his prayers will help all those suffering.
It's going to help people maintain their dignity. They're destroying their cities and their towns. You'll never destroy our dignity, never.
It will take about 6 weeks for the boxes to reach Ukraine. In Douglaston, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
If you would like to donate, you can drop off items at the Sisters of Mercy Convent located at 22-04 Parsons Boulevard in Whitestone, Queens. Meanwhile, the war between Russia and Ukraine is escalating on both sides. Ukraine recently targeted Russia's second-largest oil export facility, while Russia dropped strikes on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. The attack in Russia wounded at least 4 people, caused infrastructure damage, and ignited a major fire, while officials in Kyiv reported at least 6 people killed and dozens more wounded following Russia's attack. At his Sunday Angelus, Pope Leo XIV spoke about the strike in the Ukrainian capital.
Seguo con dolore le notizie degli attacchi che continuano a colpire numerose città ucraine, compresa Kiev. Essi causano vittime e feriti, tra cui anche bambini, e ingenti danni alle infrastrutture civili, lasciando le famiglie senza casa mentre il freddo avanza.
Pope Leo also made an appeal for the end of religious persecution in honor of the beginning of Red Week, a global campaign to raise awareness for persecuted Christians. After the Angelus, the pontiff followed in the footsteps of his predecessor, sharing lunch at the Vatican with those in need. The event held in the St. Paul VI Audience Hall marked the 9th World Day of the Poor. The meals for the 1,300 people, including migrants, single mothers, the unemployed, and the sick, were prepared and served by the Vincentians. The World Day of the Poor and the Vatican luncheon was started by Pope Francis in 2017. Pope Leo thanked the late pontiff for bringing them all together at this year's luncheon.
Con grande gioia che ci raduniamo questo pomeriggio per questo pranzo in questa giornata che tanto ha voluto nostro tanto amato mio predecessore il Papa Francesco. Forte applauso per il Papa Francesco.
As the pontiff blessed the food, he called on everyone to remember those who suffer due to violence, war, and hunger, and to celebrate this meal in a spirit of fraternity. Here in the United States, Americans preparing to celebrate Thanksgiving might have more trouble getting a turkey to their table than ever before. Currents News' Jenna McDermott reports.
It's a godsend for Thanksgiving tables across the diocese. Every year, Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens gives away hundreds of turkeys and chickens ahead of the holiday. Clergy saying the free birds are a much-needed help for their flocks.
Any help that we can provide the community in any sense.
We're going to help as many as we can.
But this year, enjoying that holiday staple is a lot harder than just getting it from the oven to the table.
This is a crisis that we're in, and I think we're not seeing the end of it yet.
The government shutdown put a strain on already busy food pantries like St. John's Bread and Light, which has been dealing with its own deficit. Nearly $1 million less in government funding. Now, add the millions of food stamp recipients not receiving assistance through the federally funded Supplement Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP. The federal workers who have not gotten paid yet, and rising food costs making groceries more expensive for everyone. And you have a recipe for disaster that will see leftovers beyond Thanksgiving.
But for many families, they're still struggling to put food on their table and keep that roof over their heads.
Average grocery prices are up nearly 3% from last September, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report. Prices for key Thanksgiving staples like potatoes, meats, fresh vegetables, and bakery products are all up. And tariffs had caused the price of many imports like wine to jump. One wine store says prices are 5 to 12% higher this year. There is some good news. On Friday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that retroactively lowered tariffs on beef, tomatoes, coffee, and bananas, and other products coming from agricultural imports. Jenna McDermott, Currents News.
Be sure to tune in Monday on Currents News. We'll have full coverage of this year's turkey giveaway by Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens that Jenna mentioned, and how it's helping those struggling ahead of Thanksgiving. That's Monday, November 24th, right here on Currents News. Turning now to news out of federal district court in Brooklyn. A Georgian national who was allegedly plotting to poison children in New York City with candy around the holidays pleaded guilty to soliciting hate crimes and promoting violence on Monday. Investigators say in 2023, Mikhail Chikvishvili, who's known as the Commander Butcher and the leader of the Maniac Murder cult, began planning his attack. It involved having someone dress up as Santa Claus and hand out candy laced with poison to Jewish and minority children on New Year's Eve. The suspect is also accused of encouraging other attacks that have taken place around the world. He faces up to 40 years in prison. The proposal for an $8 billion casino and entertainment complex outside of Citi Field is moving forward, but some local Catholics say their community isn't for sale.
This is where they want to create a huge convention center, hotel, gaming complex, and
the plan to replace 50 acres of parking lots with public park space, as well as a Hard Rock hotel, restaurants, and a casino, cleared its latest hurdle Monday when the casino group reached an agreement with the operators of the U.S. Open, who had filed a lawsuit against the plan. So far, the casino proposal has received unanimous support from the Community Advisory Council and is supported by the borough president and other city and state leaders. But Catholics like Amy Rosado, a parishioner at Immaculate Conception Church in Astoria, are worried about what this casino may do to the Queens community.
I think it is going to be terrible for our neighborhoods, and I think as a Catholic we have to make good economic choices, and economic structures like casinos are at their base predatory.
The State Gaming Facility Location Board is set to make a final decision by December 1st, and the group behind the project will apply for a casino license by the end of this year. Finally tonight, it was a meeting with the stars at the Vatican this weekend as Pope Leo held an audience with some famous actors and directors. The meeting, hosted in the Apostolic Palace, was a show of strong support from the Pope for the global film industry. The Holy Father highlighting the cultural and societal value of the cinema in communities. Pope Leo got to chat with big names in the movie industry like Spike Lee and Cate Blanchett. They, in turn, presented gifts to the pontiff that meant something to them.
The reason why is because the Pope went to Villanova. It's a school, a college, university in Philadelphia, and the Knicks, and the Knicks had 3 players on the team now that went to Villanova. He laughed, he smiled.
It was a race that was, we're in solidarity with people who are displaced. And in fact, Vanya and the International Rotterdam Film Festival, we've developed a fund for displaced filmmakers, for refugee filmmakers, because those voices often get marginalised from the mainstream. So to be able to mention that to His Holiness today was really wonderful.
Pope Leo also noted the decline in movie attendance, which dropped by almost 9% in 2024, and called for institutions to work together to affirm the value of this activity. So what exactly are Pope Leo's favorite movies? Well, the Holy Father recently told us about some of them. Ready to add them to your must-watch list? Starting with Frank Capra's 1946 film, It's a Wonderful Life. The Christmas classic is about a man who sacrificed his dreams because of his sense of responsibility and generosity, but feeling like a failure, contemplates suicide on Christmas Eve until his guardian angel intervenes. Second on the list is another classic, 1965's The Sound of Music, which tells the story of a postulant who discerns out of a convent in Austria in 1938 and brings the love of music to a family. Then we have Ordinary People, directed by Robert Redford, about a wealthy family who's grieving the loss of one son and dealing with the suicide attempt of another. And finally, the 1997 film Life is Beautiful, which tells the story of a father who uses his imagination to protect his young son from the horrors of a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. Great movie. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.